Doctor, where have you been?
I found a wounded...
Already making the round.
Thank you, nurse.
Dr. Swansea insisted we...
Thank you.
Yes, Dorothy Crane.
I would like to ask a few... And Mr.
I gave him a sedative.
What kind?
Well, you accepted the...
Apologies, I've...
Dr. Swansea is a Brit...
It's right to assume, Doctor...
You'll get to know him soon enough.
If you could point...
Second floor.
Thank you, Nurse Crane. Good evening, nurse.
Dr. Swan...
Did he really?
All members of staff...
I see.
You must know.
How are things?
Not good.
An invisible...
Sorry, Doctor.
Do you think this hospital...
We are all
I'm not familiar.
brilliant professionals.
Most of them.
It would be
Is there any...
Well,
Why should his age be a...
I guess it's fair to say...
Nurse Brannigan, if you do...
No.
Goodbye, nurse. Call...
We have no...
Good evening, sir. Do we know each other?
Actually, yes.
Dr. Tippett's, yeah.
He was also very confident.
What is the Pembroke Hospital?
This hospital is not exact.
It's more than enough.
Don't be misled.
What can you tell me?
Some are really good.
Any opinion?
I don't always agree.
Ah, yes,
Don't get me wrong.
Tell me more about...
Nurse Brannigan is a...
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran.
No. We must keep...
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have...
You don't have to blame her.
I'm not...
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, sir.
I've already heard about it.
That's quite a blunt...
You can call me Milton.
I'm not sure
Well, I'm no doctor.
You have a keen eye.
No need to explain, Doc.
How is the
You want to hear the situation?
Are you really?
And why not? I thought...
But you're not defending it.
You keep people alive, you're up.
So what do you do exactly?
I've been an ambulance driver.
Since you're on the front,
It's a complete disaster.
it sounds like things have been...
Yesterday I got attacked by the...
You left and then...
Go there yourself if you want.
I'd like to see...
Wise choice.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor.
Why does Dr.
If it wasn't for him,
Dr. Tippett does not think of you.
if you're suggesting he's not taking my...
Goodbye, nurse. Good evening, Doctor.
Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
So lucky to have Dr. Reed, you know. I met him in New York.
If only there were more of us. Less resignation. More determination.
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research.
Good evening, sir.
What can I do for you, Doctor?
Thank you, nurse.
How long's it going to take to fix me properly? A
But
month?
in the circumstances, I'm...
Good evening, Doctor.
Dr. Reed. I am thorough strict.
Please, could you tell...
I'm a great admirer of...
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you...
I'll give you some advice, but understand that nothing beats practical experience, which can be exhausting and solitary work.
Of course, sir. And don't worry, I will never allow myself to be a burden, neither to you nor...
I based my
I'd rather not talk about it.
As long as you're cautious and methodical.
You're not the first one to warn me.
What can you tell me?
Well, it has always been an honor.
You seem quite...
I'm convinced that this epidemic...
Questions remain about our...
True.
Do you need help with anything in...
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered.
Do you want me to play the errand?
Oh no, Dr. Reed.
I see. Tell me more about...
Harvey Fiddick is...
What is it, you...
Fair question.
Tell me, Mr.
Our first diagnosis was...
But why would he hide something?
Because he is a proud father.
This personal involvement...
I agree.
Do you think keeping his...
All I know is that I'm taking...
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Good evening, sir.
Reed, yes, I've been...
Does my arrival...
Let us just say...
If you have a problem...
Dr. Swansea...
I know we've never...
Oh, but I...
There is no need for such...
That is one point we...
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps...
Let's just say...
Carelessness.
We're here to save...
I don't intend to run any...
Modern medical method.
If you have a problem...
Dr. Swan...
I know
Oh,
there is no...
That is...
Tell me, Waverly. What
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives.
are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick...
Why do you wish?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should...
Other people may say that's too conservative a point of view.
Conservative? And what are you going to say to Mr. Fiddick if he loses his arm because of the operation? Because that's what's going to happen if the surgery is a failure.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
It seems you have bad...
I refuse to see this in...
We can at least agree on something. I don't know what you've heard
I don't question your skill.
and what exactly.
I served in the war.
Be careful what you insist.
I only want you to admit you...
Knowledge has always been and will remain.
It is not a question of initiative. It is a question of integrity. These men and women have put their faith in us.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Good evening, sir.
I don't know if a third of...
I see.
I'm Harvey Fiddick.
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
I'm all right.
Tell me about...
I'm just a regular guy.
I was more curious.
I'm a carpenter.
Are you sat...
Well,
I won't lie to you.
are you sure you don't want to operate yourself?
In other circumstances, you would be right. Tell me about the doctors.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both...
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site.
Tell me about your...
My wife died because of...
How could your job be...
I was working a double.
You can't hold yourself...
Of course I didn't hurt myself.
Tell me more about...
1915.
What happened?
The Germans sent...
I'm sorry for your...
I would like to say that she didn't.
How are your children?
They were smaller then.
Goodbye for now, Mr.
I will not let you down, my boy.
I'm quite busy.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk... It's locked.
I know that Pembroke will prevail and survive this epidemic.
Good evening, Doctor.
And good evening to...
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded.
With the influenza and all...
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd...
So you believe it's just a question...
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blunt.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland. Good evening.
Your name has...
I beg your pardon.
What are you begging for?
You keep calling...
Well, Doc...
And why do you...
I don't need to believe any...
Please.
I can hear my...
I see.
Never.
It's a...
Delusional, you say?
I'm assuming...
It's only a cover.
Who are
I cannot say for...
the staff here?
I'm not speaking of the doctor.
I see.
Thank you, mortal.
I'll leave you. Good evening, sir.
Unless you're here.
I'm Dr.
You guessed.
How is your stay?
Oh, it's bliss.
Can I ask you...
It's the pains.
Can I do anything?
Nurses gave me a...
Who is treating?
Nobody since...
You don't seem worried.
My face hurt.
How close are you to Miss Hall?
To wait for her next nibble is...
Aren't you afraid?
She's quite harmless.
So do you let her bite?
And why not?
She could decide.
Then it's another good...
You do...
In her madness.
Where will you stay?
I really don't...
No offense.
You were an office.
Goodbye for now.
There's a hospital.
Damn.
That's Pembroke nowadays.
Pain.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Doctor.
And I'm Doc...
Well,
How would you...
it's serious.
You must...
Sorry.
Nurse Hawk...
I wish I could put...
How long?
Or long enough.
You're right. When dealing with such...
Sorry, Doctor.
How is the...
Not well.
Why...
Milton's not the kind...
Why does Milton...
I don't know.
How is the
Not well.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening, Miss...
I need blood.
Who are you?
Is that not enough?
I'm curious.
Mary's such...
Tell me, Thelma. Do you plan to make him a...
Of course not.
Would you say...
No.
I'll leave you.
I wonder what your last thoughts would be, sir.
Damn. The pain.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening.
Goodbye for...
Damn. The pain.
Good evening, Mr.
Dr. Reed.
What do you mean?
I was not...
You remain...
Thank you, Doctor.
How did you...
I had received a...
Why did...
William wasn't...
You dare...
I'm just a man.
Do you know...
Tom? Yes.
People are still in despair.
Help.
Who should I...
Not really.
What is the...
The situation...
Who leads...
Since Clay Cop...
As...
Ah, no.
What do you do for...
I manage a night.
Are you a...
Not at all, Doc.
Why didn't you...
That's a very...
How do you...
I feel exhausted.
You're in good...
Thank you, sir.
Have you made...
Not really.
You never...
You're preaching.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later. Good evening, Dr.
And good evening.
Goodbye, Dr.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
I'm quite
Thank you for your...
My sweet girl.
I'm so...
Good evening.
Good evening, Doctor.
Will this shift never end?
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick.
You always need words to calm the children, Helen. As for me, what a blundering idiot. Reads me like a book.
Damn. The pain. It's here again.
It's locked.
Not now.
This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin. William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching. The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now. If I'm to stay here until my research is complete. I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood? Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
What type of hospital are you running? No antiseptics?
You have been away too...
I may have a solution. In France, during the war.
However do you mean? The storeroom? Fat chance.
Perhaps I should look there first.
It's the large building behind the hospital.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end.
Yes, Doctor?
Exactly how bad...
It really depends.
Please, could you...
It's the large...
Why then do you...
At the Pembroke...
Your dedication...
We staff get our sleep with...
Lack of sleep...
London's trenches...
That's all for now, Nurse. It's locked, all right.
Not now.
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody... So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well. Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza. It's locked, all right. Balls of Mars, fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful. This key will surely grant me access to the basement. These scowls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. They're not after blood. Mr. Connor's injuries don't match the report. I'd better look into this. It's locked. It's locked, all right. These skulls can be so ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting. Sodium hypochlorite. Dangerous to administer, but efficient in the proper dosage. behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza. Good evening, Miss.
I need blood.
I'll leave you. Good evening, Miss.
Evening.
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave. It was an accident.
Why lie about it?
Come on. It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have happened to anybody.
Reconstructive surgery has been very successful for some soldiers.
I don't want to wear a bloody mask for the rest of my life. I'd rather stay here and just be forgotten.
Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues.
Why do you feel responsible?
I wasn't.
Tell me what.
I went with her.
Did you?
No.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Damn.
giant morgue disguised as a hospital.
Good evening.
Evening.
Why do you feel...
I wasn't...
Soldier, do you need assistance?
I'm fine. Just do something for this pain with...
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Why the Goswicks came
Good
in
evening,
the first
Mr.
place.
Elwood.
Evening. Dr. Reed.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Disgust on every street corner.
A giant morgue disguised
Daily
as a
routine.
hospital.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening,
Pepper, are you sure you want to leave this hospital?
To become a nurse was a little girl's dream. But in the end, I don't feel that useful.
But you're doing something important here. For all the patients who need your help.
We save lives, sure. Each time we send a cured...
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Damn. The pain. It's here again.
Hello again, Doctor.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton.
Fear and disgust on every street corner.
Good evening. I'll leave you.
I'm quite bit...
Thank you. Good evening, Doctor.
And good evening.
Goodbye, Dr. Strip.
My sweet girl. Reads me like a book.
Good evening.
No.
Really?
I don't want to
I suppose that this...
Yes.
Could you at least...
Mortimer.
How painful.
So painful I'd...
I'm sure you...
Not really.
I see.
Yes, maybe.
How painful.
So painful.
I'll let you get...
Don't waste your time with...
Good evening, Mr.
I'm okay.
Tell me about it.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
How painful.
So painful.
I have to go now.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening, madam.
It's my son who needs...
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
I'm Beatrice Goswick.
What can you tell...
Not much to say.
Are you really that rich?
Yes.
May I ask...
I'm a teacher by profession.
What do you think of your...
I have had the uttermost reservation.
Is there something in particular that's bothering...
Some of the staff were not especially...
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it was...
She charged you for...
Yes.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick.
I don't expect...
Do you require medical attention as well, Mrs. Goswick?
I have other concerns right now.
Goodbye, Mrs. Good evening, Mr. Goswick.
I'm okay.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here?
My mother just wants the best for me.
Pembroke Hospital made...
It's not me, you have to...
Is your mother bothering?
That's tempting, Doctor.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
I never could keep anything from her.
Yes, Doctor?
That's all.
This hospital seems to be falling apart. But in the circumstances...
Good evening, Doctor.
And good evening.
Good evening, sir.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Helen. As for me...
Good evening, Mr.
Good evening,
Goodbye for now, Mr.
I will not let you down, my boy. Reads me like a book.
Good evening.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye, nurse.
It's safer here than anywhere else.
Another night. Surely I can...
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance. Good evening, Doctor.
Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Dr. Tim. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doc.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working.
I know it's a difficult task.
I've seen babies.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know that Nurse Hawkins is thinking of leaving the hospital?
That's not a surprise. We've talked about it already.
Does it not bother you?
Sometimes I think she may be right. We should run away while we can. Question is, Where can we go?
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet, with all the money, and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin color that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please. Take this money anyway, to remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit.
During the war,
Maybe you're right.
You do realize...
Come on, Doc.
Goodbye, Milton.
Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that Cadogan fellow.
Kindly apologize when you're feeling better.
The flower's dying. It needs water.
Better go home, sir. Stupid beast!
So many deaths. And still more coming.
Street corner. The daily routine.
It's locked.
With you at our side, Dr. Reed, I know that Pembroke will prevail and survive this epidemic.
Finally, you've returned, Doctor.
Yes, nurse.
You've worked your first
Duty call?
Many thanks, Doctor. Dr. Reed, may I help you?
What can you tell me?
Everyday folk don't...
News on the...
It seemed...
What?
This hospital...
Can you be more...
Well...
For how long?
I first of all...
And before you...
If you must...
Well,
Not a...
What about medical...
Dr. Reed, we...
How is the duty?
Everybody works and...
I'll see you later.
Good evening, sir.
This hospital seems to be falling apart. But in the Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick. Good evening, Mr.
I'm okay.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
You are not a burden, sir. Healing you is my responsibility.
And you have my gratitude for that.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr.
I cannot express...
There is an absurd poetry to my situation. Physician, heal thyself.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
I'm not some doe-eyed student, Edgar. I understand we both have something to gain from this relationship.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ashbury is in.
Do you need something, Jonathan?
I have just a few questions.
Then ask away.
You mentioned something about a secret.
Certainly. I've been a...
That explains your nightly wanderings about the docks and the questions you ask.
I feel it wasn't mere
Yet you don't fear me. And still, you know the monster that lurks beneath the civilized surface.
The Brotherhood has studied your kind for centuries. We believe you are as supernatural as a lion is to a gazelle.
Since I'm the one working for you, what should I know about Pembroke Hospital?
Well, for many years, we have been the only medical facility in this part of town that people can rely on. We support the community here, as well as provide health care.
Where do we stand today?
Well, to be honest, we cope on a day-to-day basis. The first wave of the Spanish flu last summer took us by surprise. We lack many of the basic necessities needed.
What do you expect of me?
What we need is hope. You were a soldier. This is a war. This white coat's still a uniform.
Since you seem quite the
As men of science, our first step is always to start with what we know.
The sun. The morning following my transformation. Its rays burned me. There was pain, smoke, and my skin blackened.
You will find there is very little that can kill a vampire, my friend. You have been offered relative immortality. The sun will most certainly hurt you, leaving you weakened and damaged, but it will not destroy you.
Must I take a life to live?
You are a vampire. You feed, and blood is the sole sustenance that can sustain your immortal frame. And only a living creature contains the nourishment you require.
The man we pursued and slew in the canning factory, William Bishop, I believe, was he a vampire?
He was a Skald, technically speaking. The debate rages as to their classification. Some think them a subspecies of vampire, others something else.
How do Skalds come into existence?
The name means slave. The etymology may indicate that they are a lesser species of vampire. From what I know, vampires tend to despise them.
Just for clarity, what differences are there between myself and a Skald?
A Skald is easier to eliminate, Jonathan, even if they remain formidable foes for the unprepared. Vampires... Now, vampires exist beyond the mortal realm.
We'll see each other again soon, Edgar.